All right, guys, we're back once again with slope for beginners, right? This is the beginning of slope. If you can understand this, you will do wonderful when it comes to this part of your math conquest in mathematics, okay? So now you've learned about your vertical change over the horizontal change. You've learned about rise over run, right? One thing you have to keep in mind now, pay attention, is that whenever you're moving up, that is a positive number. Whenever you're moving to the right, that is also a positive number. When you're moving to the left, it's a negative number, and when you're moving down, it's a negative number. It represents negative numbers, right? So you keep that in mind when you're moving up and down, right and left, so that you can understand when your numbers are going to be positive and when they're going to be negative, okay? So right now, what we're going to do is take a look and see how to come up with the slope when we're reading a table and when we're reading a graph. So let's take a look. Come on! All right, let's take a look here. So reminder, up here I have slope equals rise over run. Remember that the rise refers to the vertical change and the run refers to the horizontal change, okay? Keep that in mind because this is the way we always have to set up our problem if we want to find a solution for slope. Okay, let's take a look at this problem right here. The table shows the number of pages Ethan has left to read after a certain number of minutes. The points lie on a line. Find the slope of the line. Okay, if we look at the table here, we notice that after 1 minute of reading, he still had 12 pages left to read. After 3 minutes of reading, he had 9 pages left to read. After 5 minutes of reading, he had 6 pages left to read, and so forth. All right, so in order to find my slope, I can pick any of those 2 points and set my problem up. The vertical change over the horizontal change. Well, vertical change refers to my y values. So I'm going to take these 2 points and find the difference between them. I want to take my second point and subtract my first point from it, always in that pattern. So 9 minus 12. And the corresponding minutes for those 9 and 12 are 3 and 1. So 3 minus 1. Okay? Now that I have it set up correctly, 9 minus 12, well, that's negative 3. And 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, so negative 3 over 2 is the same thing as negative 3 over 2. This is my slope, the slope of his reading pattern. Well, why is it negative? Well, think about it. The more time he spends reading, the less number of pages he has left to read. So the number of pages he has to read decreases. It goes down. That's why it's negative. One thing I want to point out also is that you don't have to pick those first 2 points. You can pick any 2 points on here. It doesn't matter which ones, and I should get the same thing. So to prove it, let's just go ahead and pick these next 2 points here. So let's pick, let's see, look, how about the last 2? Let's do the last 2, okay? So once again, our slope equals, and the last 2 are 6 and 3, remember is 3 minus 6 and 7 minus 5, okay? So right here, I'm going to get 3 minus 6, that gives me negative 3, and 7 minus 5 gets me 2. Negative 3 over 2, which is the same as my original answer, my slope. All right? Okay, let's go ahead and try another one. Here we go. All right, so let's take a look at this one right here. So we have a graph here, and they've given us 2 points. They've given us negative 2, negative 1, and they've given us 4, 4. Okay, so remember, this is my first point, the negative 2, negative 1. My second point is the 4, 4, 4 comma 4. Okay, so I want to take the second one and subtract the first one every single time. Let's look at the y value, which is our second one, our second number. So that's 4, and the second one here is negative 1. So that's 4 minus negative 1. Well, remember, when we're subtracting a negative, that's the same thing as 4 plus 1. So just write it like that. It's less confusing. Now the next one is 4 minus negative 2. Well, same thing. 4 plus 2. And that's going to give me 4 plus 1 is 5. 4 plus 2 is 6. The slope of this line is 5 over 6. Awesome. All right, we can also go ahead and test it out just by going from one point to the next. Notice my units here, okay? Oops, the graph is moving on me. So right there. So how many units do I go up? I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went up 5. That's 5. And how many do I go over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went over 6. Hey! And you're probably thinking, hey, why don't I just do that every single time so I don't have to do all this fancy math? Because you don't always get those units that cross exactly on the line. So you're not going to be able to do it every single time. But when you can, yeah, go ahead and take advantage. You should get the same answer. Okay? Well, I hope that gives you a better understanding of how to find the slope using a table and from reading the graph. Until next time, see you back here on Math Quiz. Goodbye.